David Gray.
Well, he almost said it, so I'll say it. I'm David Gray, and I'm an alcoholic. Which, isn't a huge shock since I knew Joe. I'm going to be mercifully brief for everybody. I'm a little bit of an outlier here. I'm not particularly famous. I wasn't a client of Joe's or patient of Joe's, but I knew him. I've known him for 37 years, and I met him because of my participation in recovery. I started going to a meeting at the Care Unit of Orange, where he was on the board of directors and had many positions, and I got to know him. And I got to know him primarily because he was the physician or the psychiatrist or whatever you would call him for many people that became my dearest friends. And what's really interesting about this group of people is that most of us have stayed sober for 37 or 38 years. And I think that's those of you, a lot of you are in the treatment industry, and the ones in the treatment industry especially know that that's pretty remarkable that you could have a group, a cohort that big. And I didn't know what to say here, but I looked down, I wore this shirt today, because this is actually the first time I had long pants on in about 2 years. And it says, it's this particular brand, but it says knowledge, wisdom, faith, right? And I thought, that's a good description for Joe. What is wisdom? It's knowledge plus experience. And he had a lot of that. And it made me recall some of the early conversation. I'll just tell two real quick anecdotes. One is, first of all, Joe used me as kind of a spy, because he knew that I knew all these people he was treating, right, or had treated, and I would run into him and he'd say, "So David, how's so and so?" Right? I tell him, maybe you should talk to him. Maybe you shouldn't. So he did that, and then he also, I came in here and I had a bad drug problem, and Joe would ask me about cocaine. He would ask me about my experience with it, how it related to alcohol. And I had no knowledge or no wisdom, but I had a lot of experience with that. So I was able to share that with him, and I like to think I maybe helped treatment a little down the road. And then the other thing I want to share is that Joe, if you ever had many of you have, I'm probably less than anyone else, but if you ever had the privilege to either have a private conversation with Joe or dinner with him, even better, and talk to him, he had amazing stories. And sometimes he would start telling a story and then stop, because he knew I can't really say what I'm about to say because it's confidential. What Joe wanted for all of his patients was that they recover in every way, mind, body, and soul, and that they become part of a participant of life. And he was like that, as you all know. What an incredible man. What a brilliant, compassionate mind. And if we are a measure of what we do, which if I had more time, I'd tell you a whole story about that, but if we're a measure of the lives that he has changed, both the clients and their families, people famous, not famous, rich, poor, known, unknown, is incredible. And I only hope that I can someday have a legacy that's just a tiny percentage of what he's achieved. Anyway, thanks for having me here. It's really an honor and privilege to be here with you all.
Thank you, David. Recovery in body and soul and life. That's so true.